All right, guys, Coach Kyle back here today, Coach's Corner again. What we're gonna do is we're gonna reiterate some of the things that Coach Brandon went on to last week. He was very simplistic of nature, but we wanted that to be that way so that you could get a little bit more feedback on why and how some of our stretches and our warm-ups can be utilized to actually increase some of our strength gains and mobility moving forward. I'm gonna go back over our first 4 basic stretches. I'm not really gonna work on mobility. Mobility is just gonna be something that I want you to get that heart rate up and get that blood flowing so that when we are on our very first exercise, we can go 100%. I don't have to transition you from a lightweight to a heavyweight. You're ready to go. But with all that said and done, let's talk about the importance and the dynamics of stretching before and after. First thing is stretching before should be done, duh. But should it be done in an elongated sense, such as a yoga class or something of that nature? No. Now why? Because our body is aka like a rubber band. It literally is rubber bands within inside of us, holding us and keeping us taut together. When we're going into a strength training, we're looking for things to snap back and be tight, but we want them to be controlled. Now, if you go into a lot of stretches before, again, like I said before, as a yoga class, we're gonna really loosen those suckers up. Take yourself, think about a rubber band. If I loosen it up, loosen it up, loosen it up, and then I go add a bunch of weight on a really loose rubber band, what happens? You get that pliability, or aka that white stretch you see in the middle of that rubber band, which makes it look like it's gonna snap. Well, that's what's gonna happen. 75% of injuries happen during an overstretched period or over-warmed up period. Sounds crazy, but yes, you can be over-warmed up for strength training. So we're gonna go back through the first 4 stretches that we had and tell you and show you why they are so important and what they really do. You're going to negate 10, maybe 12 stretches by doing 4. These 4 main components is what I really expect out of any athlete or anybody who comes in here before we get started. So with that, I'm going to refer back to some of our coaches' corners as well on how to breathe. If you don't breathe properly within stretching, you're not gonna get those muscles filled up with enough O2, oxygen, to increase that VO2 max, as we talked about before, going into our strength training. So with that, let's go through our first 4 exercises, break them down in our stretches, and see why they work so well and why we do them, period. So that first stretch that you saw Coach Brandon do this last week was a 90-90 stretch. What this stretch is, and I know you guys have all done this before, this. All right, so I'm like 5 stretches through. How about we do 1? So you're gonna take your front leg, you're gonna bend it across 90 degrees. You're gonna take that back leg into that hurdling position, 90 degrees, creating a nice square box, keeping your chest upright. Now the most important part of this function, there's 2 ways to do it. The first way I would do it is you're going to rotate externally to the outside. You're gonna lower those shoulders down, and then you're gonna draw yourself across the front. What this is gonna do is you're gonna feel a lot into that hip flexor. You're also gonna feel a lot into that back glute, and some coming across that knee and that tension flexibility of that torsional twist. Every stretch should be about 15 seconds. If you do a stretch for less than 10 to 15 seconds, you're actually not stretching. That body part, AKA tendon or your rubber band, needs to warm up. It's a lot more pliable and will resist, but also bend or stretch more if you warm it up. So about 15 seconds. If you don't want to count, just good 3 deep breaths. Then you will transition yourself back up into a seated position. That's the first stage. This one actually comes with 3. The second stage is you're not gonna go out to the left, and you're gonna see a significant difference because you're not gonna be able to sneak, what we like to say is sneak up under that hip flexor. This is gonna put a lot more into that lower back, or that QL, which is your quadratic, which is actually connected around that back part of the spine, which helps with that sciatic and a lot of that lower back nerve pain. So standing straight up, you're gonna bring yourself straight forward in that child's pose type of position, laying your chest down and taking a couple of deep breaths. Now, if you saw me on the other side, which I'm gonna show real fast again, I can come down and bury myself to the ground. Now, if I sit nice and upright, and I try to come down, right about here, I'm starting to get really tight and taut. It's because now that left side, which I'm on, lower back is stretching to keep myself hinging forward. This way, when I come to the outside and down and under, you don't have that stretch because you get to AKA sneak up under that hip flexor or that lower back QL muscle. So 2 movements, again, out, across, down, 15 seconds. Second one, straight up, rotate down, 15 seconds. After you do that forward, all you're gonna do is lean back. We go into that hurdle, put your hands back behind you, and you're gonna rotate again externally to that opposite side, positioning the shoulders, nice in a horizontal line with that back heel of the foot, and then you're gonna draw that chest up, trying to keep the knees and everything positioned down on the ground. You're gonna again feel it nice and tight in here, but you're gonna start to work that quad stretch, which we've also done, such as this position, all in one. So hands behind you, externally rotate a little bit, lean back, chest up, 10 to 15 seconds, 3 quick breaths, 1 stretch, 5 stretches in one. Now that took us about 3 or 4 minutes to go through, but when you know it, you come in, 15 seconds, up, 15 seconds, up, 15 seconds. That's 45 seconds aside. This stretch, no more than 2 minutes. All right, guys, coming through that first set of stretches, again, we incorporated about 4 or 5 in one, and we're gonna do the same thing here, but we're gonna start stimulating some muscles, which means we're going to overload a little bit on an isometric movement for certain muscles, and then we are going to twist and stretch others. This is a great way to go into a warm-up or a mobility because you're having to use more than one part of your body at once, which is also a neurological and a brain functioning mechanism. So if you want to be a little bit smarter in your training, this is also a great stretch for you. So Spider-Man stretch, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my left foot, I'm going to draw it up straight, perfectly in front of us. Your hands are going to come down, you're going to place it about 1 inch to 2 inches from that foot. You want your wrist to be grounded just like your heel would. So it's almost like this is an arm and this is an arm right next to each other. So right now we have 1, 2, looking and feeling almost like 3. We will then position our foot directly behind us. You will place down that toe and then you bring that leg up like you're almost in what we like to call a Spider-Man plank. From this position, you're going to take that inside hand while we're sinking down in. You're going to rotate open, try to get yourself to draw a straight line up to the ceiling, looking at your hand to help that thoracic system rotate through that spinal column. Up, hold for a second. You're going to come down, and this is what I like to say is the most important part of this. As much as drawing that open and getting that lower back twist feels so good, really working this quad and up under here. If you're looking to do a split, or if you're a sprinter or a runner and you're looking to elongate your gait, this is a great exercise for you. This is also one of those exercises that can relieve so much lower back pain. I get so many messages like, oh, my back, or my coaches will have a client come in and they're like, oh man, my back. Stop it. Stop moving erratically and start moving in a functional phase like this. So again, foot down, hands placed right next to it. Now I didn't go into, which I just said is the most important part of it, and that's gonna be drawing the elbow. So as we come up and we're open, straight, you're gonna take that elbow and then you're gonna press it as close as you can down to that heel. That is gonna work your hip flexors, that elongated gait in that front split position, and then you're gonna go right back up and then push down. Make sure this stays straight. Make sure this doesn't deviate forward or back. You wanna keep everything square at a nice 90-degree planked out position and angle. Tree trunk, create that tree trunk with that arm. Make it stable, don't make it wobble. If you're getting a lot of shoulder work in this, you need to punch out those elbows a little bit and draw them in so that you can create more of a base. You're gonna do this 10 times in succession, up and down, almost like a spring-loaded hinge. So your full movement will be this. Hands down, foot back place, up, down, up, down, up, down. 10 times each side. We're coming down to that third one. We're gonna do leg lowers. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier in talking about that rhythmic breathing. Whenever you're doing any type of stretch, it's most important to get into a pattern. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back or click that YouTube link, check out that Coach's Corner on the way to breathe, and this will all make sense to you. But you want to get into that belly or core filled up type of breathing pattern as we do this, and exhaling the entire way. Empty out those lungs and bury that core. The more you empty out, the more O2 when you take in that deep breath you will get, which will help those muscles stretch the way they need to be. So our third exercise, we're going to do leg lowers. If you don't have a band or something of this nature, grab a belt, literally at home, or take 2 shoelaces, tie them together. Yes, it is that simple. You're going to take it, you're going to put it right over the tip of your toe and the ball of that foot. You're going to grab about a foot away. Now, if you have a band, you're going to grab about a foot away. If you're on a belt or something that is static and does not have any pliability or elasticity to it, you might need to grab a little bit lower so you can straighten out that hamstring, because we're focusing on the back part of our hamstrings right along here. Now, first, I want you to make sure you keep your head down at all times. You're going to bring that leg up to a 45 degree and make sure this leg stays straight. If you're coming up to a 45 degree and it's hard because you're not flexible enough, then you can bend that leg a little bit, because the first stage of this is actually going to be for our calf. You're going to hold it tight, and then you're going to press through the calf and then let it pull all the way back. Make sure that the foot is not flat so the band doesn't come back and smack you in the face, but push through the heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. 5 or 6 times, simple. Second stage of this, you will lay that head down, and then you're going to draw that leg up as straight as possible without bending. So if you are here and it starts to bend and you feel it all in that back hamstring and the glute and that lower back, this is where you stay. You lock out that leg until it's tight and taut, and we stay there. From this position, now this is not my position. My position is up here. And yes, I've done this a while, so I'm a little bit more flexible, but I'm also your coach, so don't think anything else. From here, we're going to grab up high, and I want the band to do the recoil of the hamstrings. You're going to hold for a second or two up here, slowly lower down and up. Slowly lower down and up. As you do this, you shouldn't just feel on your hamstring, because you're slowly lowering at your full extent of the angle for that knee joint to lock out. You should be feeling that come all the way up that calf and go again to your foot. If not, try to push out that heel. Or even as you draw that up, do a couple heel pushes here. That heel push, as you go up, should put a lot of feeling in that back hamstring if you're raising that leg high enough and straight enough. So you will do 10 of these on each side, but you're going to start with that 5 or 6 little toe point going out for that hamstring and that Achilles to warm up the leg. So our full movement will be from the ground, head down, drawing in tight, 45 degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, that's it. Head down, all the way up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Hamstring stretch, leg lowers. Number 3, let's move on to 4. All right, guys, we're doing a lot of stuff for that lower body. You're probably right now going, all right, I don't only lift and strength train with this part. So you really only need to do 1 or 2 things for that upper body. What happens with the upper body, all day it's going through a lot of movement and erraticisms between different directions and angles. So we don't need to go too crazy in getting that part of it actually warmed up. That's where the mobility part comes in. So when we're going to those high knees, those butt kicks, those accelerated skip jumps, those are going to start drawing those arms up and in and start sending that blood to the upper parts of our body. This exercise is because everyone's got bad shoulders. Everyone's got bad rotator cuffs. We've probably all, as we get older, have had some type of shoulder or arm injury. What we find too is because there isn't enough range of motion. This is literally a range of motion exercise. It's not as much as of a stretch, but it's helped to break down some of that fascial tissue and some of that other junk that you feel grinding in aka our shoulder gears as we reach up overhead. Not many people, and I dare you to try this, can take their arms and put them straight over the head and have their bicep touch their ears. I know that sounds like a weird type of exercise going through, but it shows that you can extend and almost release past the point of flexion and total exertion of a ligament. What I mean by that is yogis will understand this. It's that full press and through where we're locking out those elbows, as I just talked about in that Spider-Man, creating that tree plank. So this is not arms up overhead. This is arms overhead. Big difference. Now what we're going to do is we're going to transition some type of old school fun thing for a child to do, aka make a snow angel on the ground, to for us old immobile people to a snow angel on the wall. Yeah, you don't get snow, you get concrete. So what you're going to do is 3 major things. First, I want as much of your body touching this wall from your hips up as possible. What I mean is you're going to approach the wall and you're going to draw your feet out about a foot. You're going to lean into the wall. We want our head against the wall. We want our butt against the wall. And this is what I would like to say is the most important part, is hollowing out that lower back, aka that little curve we have in our back right here. So right now, if I can fit my palm in there, I need to take it away and I need to rotate my hips almost like I'm pinching off something, aka go to the bathroom. Shift forward, tuck in, looks funny, but what we're doing is we're flattening out our spine. If our spine is flat, you're gonna have more mobility transitioning through that up and down movement of that overhead raise than if you are in a curvature of the spine motion, such as our regular standing flat form. So, butt against the wall, lower back, aka the hollow part against the wall, shoulders against the wall, head tucks against the wall, palms are gonna be placed open, and the exact same thing, everything you can that can touch the wall will be touching the wall. Back of the forearms, tricep, elbows. As you will see, this exercise is not going to be as easy as you think. So everything back on the wall, deep breath in, all the way up, trying to touch our thumbs together while everything's still on the wall, all the way down, up, all the way down. You might notice too, as you go up and try to squeeze, this is usually where people get stuck, to here, you're gonna start engaging those shoulder complex muscles, which is going to give you a warm up in all of our rotation ligaments and joints. So if we start going into a press and then a pull and then a fly, well, our arms and our body will be ready for that, all from this one move. So again, wall angels, tuck chin, tuck pelvis, belly button, push to the wall, palms open, thumbs out, everything as close to the wall as possible. Up, down, nice and slow, up, down, 10. So we started at the beginning of this saying that the beginning parts of your workout and stretch are different than the end. What I mean by that is at the end of a workout, go to yoga class. Do as much stretching and pliability as possible. Also, the reason why is because you are warmed up. We talked about at the beginning, one more time, that rubber band feel, where that's pliability, that whiteness in the middle, well, you just lifted heavy. Everything is starting to constrict and get tight again because you're stopping moving. Well, that's where we start to get cramps and we start to get tired and then we're sore the next day. Not being sore is also a great benefit of working those muscles, aka stretching at the post part of your workout. So all I want you to do for the post part of your workout is not much different than the beginning. I want you to add 2 exercises, 2 simple stretches from those first 4, knock those out, get in that car and go on home. But one major component is on that ending part of your exercise, if you feel comfortable in something and you want to stay in it for 30 to 40 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, okay. I'm not gonna have a problem with that. If it feels good for you, it will feel good for you later and it's probably what you need. So don't ask questions, just do it. There is no high school, there is no hall pass. Yes is the answer. All right, so our very first thing, what we wanna do to add to those stretches at the very beginning is gonna be a thoracic opening twist from a supinated lying position, blah, 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 blah. Let me show you. You're just gonna lie down on your back. And again, for those who have back problems or get tightness and everything else, this is a great morning stretch. Even if you're not gonna be working out, this is a great little routine to just go through to start your day. It really helps with mobility and feeling mobile as we go. But you're gonna lay down on your back, You're gonna open your arms up into a nice T. You're gonna draw your knees up, and then you're gonna let them fall to the outside. From this position, that top leg, you are going to extend down, and then you're going to fold over to clap. From this position, I want your hand to create a big windmill up and over, but I want to make sure, if you can, to touch the ground with your fingertips at the entire time. So you're trying to create the biggest arch and circle up over your head, down to your hip, back to your hand in one fluid movement. So again, staying open, and if you are a coach, you might see this happen and done with this positioning, but we're working here today to really accentuate some of the stretches, such as the Spider-Man and stuff that we did at the very beginning. So there are two different ways. Some of you guys might think the form's wrong, but it's different. So, open, come over, clap, close, head down the best you can, all the way up, all the way around, looking at that hand, coming down, up over that hip, tap. All the way up, all the way down, up over hip, tap. You're gonna do that nice and slow. Now the reason why we have the top side drawn open instead of that lower side is because we are doing that 90-90. We're also doing that Spider-Man. We're getting a lot of stress on that lower thoracic or that lumbar sciatic area. So we don't need to put extra into it. What opening this up does is put less twisting and tension in that exact spot. So you're still gonna get that shoulder opener. You're still gonna get that side, aka your serratic and oblique opener, shoulders, all that good stuff, without overdoing that lower back because you already have. So again, I would take that one 5 to 10 times, nice and slow, good deep breaths on each side. All right guys, we're coming down to the end of this whole stretching, warm up, cool down program. I know it's a little bit longer, but it's very important that this is a part of your program. If you utilize this each and every time you work out, it may take 10 to 15 minutes more, but overall, I would say that you're gonna get 20 to 30 minutes more of exercise components or higher graded weight components for your exercise because you did this. That means if you did listen to our Breathing in Coach's Corner, you're going to work out more with less effort if you do this. Who doesn't want that? So with that very last exercise, I like to work on a straddle. I like to work on a hip opener. We're doing a lot of hinging. We're doing a lot of different stuff, but a lot of times we don't get to stretch this area enough. And you can pull a groin and do a lot of different things within this movement that people don't get to do a lot. So this is one that I do even without all of this, but it will help you work on your hip openers. It will help you work on your squats. It will help you work on your jumping mechanisms. It will help you work on so much. And you will be able to see a variance on how much you get better at it, which I will show you today. I'm not getting egotistical in this, but I have been stretching and doing a lot of things for a while. And this will show you where you are to where you can go if you put in the effort. So we're just gonna do an open straddle to a hinge. And if you feel comfortable enough or your shoulders are not too tight and you haven't had a lot of problems, what I'd like you to do is you're gonna interlock your hands behind your back. This is gonna draw your shoulders back and in and really put that stressor and flexion in that upper hip and also in that lower back and those hamstrings where we want it. With this too, if you feel good and comfortable enough, and this is also stages, you can go from easy to medium to hard, which I'll show you all three. Extend those arms up over your head. This is a yoga move, but I love this one to sit in, breathe, relax. It doesn't look relaxing, but once you get good at it, it very much is. So, first form, straight up, nice over position squat, something you feel comfortable in, hands placed right back behind your hips, chest up, and you're gonna just slowly lower with that chin drawn forward, and then you will roll that head down to the ground. So this is stage one, 15 to 20 seconds, come up. Stage two, again, if our shoulders feel that they are comfortable enough to do this, you will lock in, you will hinge down, fold the head, then draw the arms up. Stage two. Final, stage three. You're gonna try to elongate that gap or stride in between. Again, locking in that mechanism behind us, fingers, pull, draw, Draw that chest down, head down, forehead down. And now, instead of keeping those arms directly overhead, you're gonna start to pull and draw them forward. And if you can, this is where you will look back between your legs. And then slowly transition up. Now for me, I used to be very tight. I've had 40 surgeries on one knee, shoulder surgeries, ankle surgeries. I've had a lot of components that should make this very, very hard. But I'm 40 years old as of today. Yeah, let's not talk about it. But let me show you. Hinge. So, bottom line is, I haven't stretched in a couple of days, but I've been stretching for years. This just shows, just like strength training, if you put in the effort, you take the time, things will not go away. You will be able to transition your gains longer and stronger with less effort and less injury, so why not put in that time? Look, it's been great with you guys today. This is one of my favorite things. Form and functionality to me is always number one. And going into stretches like this and learning how to control your body in a slow dynamic movement gets you prepared to understand how to move and use that brain for that neurological function to get those exercises right the way we want you to. Thanks again. Everybody stay safe, stay tuned. We'll be on Zoom for a little while here. We'll be switching over to MindBody. YouTube will have all of our links for our full videos. Instagram is going to be a little bit short, so if you want that full deal, click that link below, follow along, and let's get it, because training has just begun.